There is merely no other nation in the world today that can be even remotely compared with North Korea. Without any overstatement, it is a literal 21st century peek into what Nazi Germany would have resembled had it survived after 1945. It is the globe's most unyielding totalitarian regime, where complete allegiance is always demanded, and where even the tiniest hint of disloyalty to the country's ultimate ruler can get you dispatched to one of the regime's numerous concentration camps for life. You can anticipate a horrifying destiny of famine, forced labor, live medical trials, ceaseless torment, and sporadic execution depending on what the guards feel like doing to you. There is no such thing as proper procedure or human rights in North Korea, and hundreds of thousands of people are currently enduring within these camps, enduring this ordeal every day. This isn't history, it's unfolding live at this moment as you're watching this video. Obviously, if you are one of the individuals ensnared within this real-life nightmare, you would want to break free. The problem is that North Korea is unquestionably the planet's most challenging country to break away from. Primarily because North Korea doesn't permit you to escape. The penalty for even attempting to depart the country is treason, the camps, and in numerous instances, death. Even if you do manage to flee successfully, the North Korean regime has a tendency to pursue your family members who stayed behind. This includes your spouse, your offspring, your parents, and even your grandparents, who could be apprehended and sent to a lifetime of horror in one of those camps if they didn't depart with you. For many, this serves as discouragement required to keep them in check, understandably, while also being frustrated. However, if you've resolved to escaping regardless of the hazards and consequences, here are the few ways you'd be able to do it. Regrettably, none of them are straightforward, and they all present their own challenging geographical obstacles to consider. The most evident destination for escape is South Korea, the precise polar opposite of North Korea, an open, liberal, and prosperous democracy. South Korea asserts legal jurisdiction over the entirety of the Korean peninsula, and officially regards all 26 million North Korean residents as her own citizens as well. This implies that if you can achieve it, you're ensured citizenship, a future, and are essentially in the clear. However, moving just this brief distance from the northern side of one peninsula to the southern side is probably the most demanding journey that a human being can undertake in the 21st century. Walking directly across the southern border is almost unfeasible because it's literally the most heavily militarized site on the planet. It's fully encased with towering walls, electric barbed wire, countless landmines, and is defended by millions of soldiers with live ammunition, who have specific orders to shoot to kill anyone foolish or courageous enough to attempt crossing. An escape through here might be the swiftest, but it's also the riskiest and most perilous. Your odds of success are minimal, but despite that, numerous have still endeavored and emerged triumphant. In 2017, a North Korean man drove his vehicle straight up to the military demarcation line between the two countries at the border, crashed, exited the vehicle, sprinted across the border under a hail of machine gun fire from the North Korean border guards, and collapsed on the South Korean side behind a barrier before being rescued. He was shot 5 times and lost half his blood during the rapid attempt, but he still managed to survive and now resides in the South. However, for most individuals, escaping directly into the South in this manner is simply too perilous. Consequently, they'll opt for alternatives. Although the southern border of North Korea is nearly entirely impregnable for escape, the eastern and western flanks are enveloped by the ocean, which introduces its own difficulties. Procuring a boat and fleeing with it is unattainable since the majority of North Koreans are severely destitute, and there's no conceivable way to purchase a boat anyhow, even if you did possess the funds. For most individuals, that leaves merely swimming to South Korea, which brings about the hazards of drowning or being apprehended by the North Korean patrol vessels. In 2016, an individual named Chul Yun Lee, who was a high-ranking member of North Korea's Ministry of State Security, resolved to defect with a companion using this method nonetheless. Together, they acquired a motorbike tire, an air pump, and some provisions, and arrived at approximately this location in the west, just behind the DMZ. Once darkness had descended, they plunged into the water and embarked on a frantic and unnoticed swim. Unfortunately, the air pump eventually malfunctioned, and they had to forsake the tire and depend on their backpacks to help them stay afloat instead. They concluded a continuous swim for over 4 hours in the darkness, until they discerned an unidentified vessel moving toward their vicinity. Fearing it might be a North Korean patrol, they swam frantically to an island and waited the departure of the vessel. However, this transpired during the chilly autumn months in Korea, and they were drenched with little clothes. They managed to locate some refuge they employed for insulation and rested within it. When daylight emerged, They discovered some wooden pallets that they fastened together into an improvised raft with some styrofoam containers they had found. They propelled themselves to a small, remote isle close by and spent multiple days there, hoping to evade detection. In due course, a South Korean fishing boat stumbled upon them, rescued them, and they were finally able to break free to safety in South Korea. An additional option that some North Koreans consider is fleeing through China. The border between North Korea and China is significantly less fortified, making it a prospective route for escape. However, this route presents its own complications. Many Koreans who cross into China end up being exploited victims of human trafficking or coerced into exploitative circumstances due to their undocumented status. The Chinese government frequently collaborates with the North Korean regime to seize and repatriate escapees back to North Korea, where they confront stern retribution. To successfully flee through China, North Koreans frequently need to navigate a network of individuals and organizations that aid them in reaching a third nation, such as South Korea or another nation offering sanctuary. This expedition is fraught with danger and entails traversing through multiple checkpoints, evading authorities, and confronting the continuous peril of exposure. In recent times, a limited number of North Koreans have succeeded in escaping by seeking refuge at foreign embassies or consulates in third nations, generally while on authorized journeys abroad. Once they set foot inside a foreign embassy, they are typically granted asylum and ultimately make their way to the nation extending sanctuary. Departing North Korea is a hazardous and intricate endeavor that necessitates immense valor, ingenuity, and luck. Numerous who endeavor it do not triumph, and those who do confront a taxing voyage and the task of commencing a fresh existence in an unfamiliar land. If you enjoyed this video, you'll love our video on why North Korea is dying. You will learn about the impending doom that North Korea cannot avoid.